Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Speak from the Heart, a testimonial podcast series where athletes share how God has worked through their athletic career. And today I'm joined by former sprinter and now current content creator with Moon Media Games, Timi Olawole. So, Timi, welcome to the
What's up?
show, man. I'm really excited to have you on here.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Give me some of your background, dude. Like, you grew up in Buford, Georgia, and eventually became a Division I sprinter in Samford. So, let's talk
Yeah,
about your upbringing a little bit. Like, how did your love for track begin, and what drew you to sprinting in the first place?
it's crazy. It actually wasn't my love for track. It was my love for football. So obviously I went to Buford, and I don't know if you keep up with high school sports. I mean, we're all out of high school now,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
uh, Buford, I mean, we always stack up at
Hmm.
the end of everything. I think this year we finished up number one nationally when it came to football.
Wow, nice.
And so being able to go to Buford, like, definitely blessed with the opportunity to, like, I mean, everyone on my team, like, if we wanted to go play Division I ball somewhere, we had the opportunity. We
Hmm.
had the number one recruiting coach in the country, and we, like, I mean, it was crazy. Like, we walk into the weight room, and there'd be like a bunch of Power Five coaches in there, just in
Yeah,
there, just watching us work. It was like that every day. Different conversations, being pulled out of class. It's like, that's what my high school looked like, right?
yeah.
And that was an opportunity that I had. My brothers, my younger brothers, they're playing for, one's playing at West Point right now, the other one's at Liberty, and they're doing their whole thing. But yeah, so I think it was actually football that got me to college, and I think a lot of people don't realize that, or a lot of people that I met, like, I guess post grad life, because they
Yeah,
only see that track side.
yeah,
But
right.
it was actually create that opportunity for me to go to college. And it wasn't until I got to college I had to switch because of nursing school, and so I
Okay.
actually ended up switching to football. And I mean, sorry, I actually ended up switching to track because it was just easier with my workload.
Yeah.
Um, and honestly, like, it was one of those, because I ran track in high school, but I knew, like me and my buddies, we made a pact. It was funny. We made a pact after COVID, going into my senior year. Like, we were like, oh, like, we hate track. We're not going to run track that year. And it actually pissed off our track coach, because he
Uh-huh.
was also the recruiting coach. He was the head recruiting coach, and the one that sent everyone to school. And so when he heard that all the seniors weren't running track, he was so livid, so mad. Because I mean, a lot of us just want to focus on going and playing ball somewhere.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's what we did. I ended up at Samford, and I mean, God has a mysterious way of working, and I ended up doing track, and it was the last thing. Like, and the thing is, I hate track. Like, I hated it. I even now I hate it. Like, it gives me
Yeah.
this kind of gave me this kind of anxiety. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? Like, something about lining up in the blocks around a bunch of people who are faster than you. You know what I'm saying? Like, nothing else makes me more nervous in the world. But
Yeah.
it got my school paid for and everything. So I had to stick it out.
Yeah. I mean, dude, I completely get it. Especially like when you get to college sports, it becomes such a job and it changes from not necessarily like it's hard to balance like something you enjoy and also something you're competing at and like trying to work at every single day.
Yeah.
And dude, I mean, at EKU, my first couple of years, the baseball field was right next to the track and field stuff, and they're running all the time. And I'm like, dude, there's absolutely no way. Like I
Yeah.
used to run cross country, and I didn't do the sprints part of it. I would just run long distance, and that sucked. But I'm watching all these people. I'm like, dude, I don't know how y'all do that, but
Yeah. Yeah. And
um,
that's Eastern Kentucky.
yeah,
Okay, we had a guy come in. He played football there, and he
okay,
transferred in to run track as well. Or
okay.
he played baseball there, yeah, and then transferred into Sanford. Quit, quit football there. Came here to run track and play football. His name is Tyke Tabor. I don't know
Oh,
if you know.
really? That
Yes,
actually sounds
yes,
familiar, I think.
yeah,
But yeah,
yeah,
that's actually really cool.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Really, really good dude. Good dude.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Yeah, so like you said, I mean, you got to the point where you're done, you're just kind of done with it all. We all reached that point. Like I'm coming on my last year with college baseball, and you get to the point where competition kind of changes or comes to an end. So,
Yeah,
what was the transition like for you, and how did God guide you into this new chapter of your life that you're in right now?
yeah, yeah, yeah. I think for me, it was a fairly simple transition. I think for a lot of athletes, I just know like it won't be as easy. And so thankfully my transition was easier versus pre-college. Like I know going into college, it was also something I had to figure out. I wanted to figure out whether I wanted to play football or not. Cause it
Hmm.
was something that, like once I get into it, I'm a big like once I start something, I gotta finish it. Right. And
Yeah.
so like, okay, do I want to go and play football in college? And it was like, no, parents were telling me, nah, like you want to focus on your degree, this and this and that. I'm like, oh, I
Hmm.
don't want. It was a whole thing. And I remember having to turn to God to figure out that decision,
Yeah.
alone. And, I ended up choosing the right thing, I feel like. But I think now post grad, that I made the right decision. And I think I was in the headspace of, okay, like my time is done, like did my time. And, it's time to transition to that real world.
Yeah.
Where, a lot of athletes, a lot of my boys that some that are playing, some that are finishing up, some
Hmm.
that have already finished up, uh, they're still, it's kind of, everyone's kind of caught up in that,
Yeah.
like, oh, like what's next? Because all we
Yeah.
know is sports. Like, what I'm saying? All we know is
Yes.
sports.
Yes,
So,
exactly.
that transition can be hard for some people
Hmm.
because it's like, man, like what's next? What do
Yeah.
they do? Luckily, uh I guess I didn't really have a plan. What am I thinking of? I had mm, a rough draft of a plan of what I was
Yeah.
gonna do. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Versus a lot of athletes that simply they graduate and like they don't know what's going on. And
Right.
it's a harsh reality of it all. But
Yeah.
uh, like I mean, it ended up working out. Ended up working out.
Yeah. And I think too, we all have a plan. Like we all have an idea. It even talks about in Proverbs 16, verse 9, how the heart of the man plans his way, but the Lord establishes his steps. Like he knows our
Yeah,
plan. He knows what we need, what he needs us to do and his will over ours. And sometimes it's hard to drop that because I mean, especially with like baseball for me, it was my identity for so long. And now here I am at the very end of it all. And I'm having to be like, okay, I'm not a baseball player anymore. You know what I mean? So it's hard. It's hard to make that decision and a lot of athletes have to face it every single year. So I mean, it's a difficult choice, but so we'll go into your content creation stuff now. A lot of people, including me, first came across you and what you're doing through Moon Media Games,
yeah,
and like I said, it feels like you're almost winning almost every single challenge that they put in front of you.
yeah,
But yeah, dude, like we talked about it briefly about how it's almost like instant. Like we went from I talked about it with you maybe like a month ago. For me, it was like I had about 2,500 followers on Instagram, and now I'm eclipsing 35K, and same with you. Like you're almost at, I think it was 40 something, but it's crazy how you can just get a platform immediately.
yeah.
So let's talk about this transition. Like, how did you get involved with them, and did you ever imagine that it would grow into the big platform that it is now? I mean, it's almost hitting 700,000 followers, man. Like it's
Yeah,
nuts.
it's crazy. Yeah, no, it definitely is crazy. So it's funny again, like God, like he kind of took the reins of my life a little bit and then kind of just threw me around. And I came to Charleston, wanted to do medical sales instead. And I landed a job, but one thing about me, like I feel like everyone wants to get to the bag. Everyone wants to get to the bag, but no
Yes.
one wants to do the work. And no one's doing the work to get to the bag. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
and to be honest, I was kind of like I was in that headspace. Like, oh gosh, like I want to make money, but I don't want to do the work. And so I
Hmm.
got a medical sales job, and gosh, the hours were crazy. And I was like, oh, I had to work weekends and this and that. And so I'm here in the midst of trying to figure out because I came out here with a bunch of interviews in Charleston. I came to Charleston with a bunch of interviews, and
Yeah.
I'm in the midst of trying to figure out, okay, what job am I going to land? What kind of sales job? And it's funny. So we had actually just finished up my final season. So we finished up conference. So I graduated, finished up conference. And I think 2 days later, I packed up my car and I drove to Charleston, moved, right? And I think I had been here for maybe 3 weeks interviewing. And I remember sitting there in my bed thinking, dang, like I haven't been to the gym in 3 weeks. You know what I'm saying? And
Hmm.
growing, like I've never had a gym membership before. I'm sure. I mean, same thing with you.
Yeah.
Like playing sports, like it's always some coach has some
Yes.
program for you, and that's what you do. You know what I'm saying? And so
Right.
I remember going out in Charleston, and I was like, okay, let me go find a gym. Let me go find a gym. And the thing about Charleston is that there's a huge fitness community, right? And so many of these gyms, so many like it's everyone here loves to work out. And so I walked into, I think I Googled like the best gym in Charleston. And I walked up in there and it was so funny because I walked up in there thinking I was gonna get like a $10 no judgment zone, Planet Fitness kind of
Yeah.
membership. It's like $300. And I was like, oh, like this is ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? And so
Yeah.
uh me being me, I was like, okay, like this is too ridiculous. And so actually what I did was I was like, okay, I'm gonna work at one of these gyms maybe 1 or 2 days a week, maybe wiping cleaning the weights, mopping floors, rolling
Hmm.
towels, like different stuff like that to get a free membership, right?
Yeah.
And honestly, it ended up being my biggest blessing simply because I think I worked at the gym for maybe a month, front desk stuff, maintenance stuff. And one of the trainers came out to me and she was like, hey, like, love your personality. Everyone here already thinks you're a coach because it's funny because all the front desk people, they're all girls. And then you throw a big black guy in the mix. You know what I'm saying? So you had people who hadn't seen me thinking, okay, is he a new coach? Is he a new trainer? What's going on? Like, who's this
Yeah.
guy with the desk? And so she was like, I love your personality. People they love the way you are. You should come and be a coach. And I was like, oh, okay. I was like, I don't know anything about training. I don't have any of my certs. They were like,
Yeah.
don't worry about it. We got you. I'm going to train you. And then you're going to audition on Friday. And we had like a week to prepare. And so she prepped me up and Friday came and I went in and I winged it. Right.
Yeah.
So the gym's called Core 4 and we're the best gym in Charleston. Right. It's awesome. We have two locations, one
Hmm.
in Mount Pleasant, one in West Dash. And we're actually opening up one in Greenville. It should be opening end of this year. It should be open by the end of this year. But a lot of moving pieces. But anyways, so I started coaching, which has been a blessing. Like we have over I think like 4,000 members. Just training
Hmm.
people, and it's like I knew like when I ended up switching from nursing, it was one of those things where like I knew I wanted to help people, and I didn't. I guess like I decided like, hey, like I'm not able to do that from I guess like from the medicine aspect, I could do it in the fitness, aspect, the fitness
Yeah.
kind of, and so, whether even though, yeah, I do have to get up at 4 a.m. in the mornings, I'm able to go in, make those relationships with a lot of people who are actually very like-minded. Charleston is full of a lot of Christians, believe it or
Yeah.
not.
That's awesome.
And the community here is great. And so relationships, communities and stuff. And honestly, like even now, it's so funny because I went from training every single day to now I'm doing 1 day a week, right? Because like I don't want to leave the gym, like again, the relationships, the connections and everything. But content has taken over my life so much to
Yeah.
the point, man, I can't train like I did anymore, right? Like I
Yeah.
have something else going. And um so I've been training about like a month in, and I saw like this ad. It wasn't even an ad, it was just a video, and I opened up Instagram and it said, looking for creators, So I swiped past it, just another video. And then I opened
Yeah.
up TikTok and I saw the same thing and I clicked on it. And these guys named Matt and Kyle, they're looking for people to do like this. So we have the two sides of our social media that we do. We market brands, right? So like we play backyard games. So that's like bucket golf, spike ball, all that jazz,
Yeah.
can jam. And so what we'll do is we'll take their accounts and we'll run all of their accounts. And so they essentially will pay us to make videos for them for the month. And so I did that with Matt and Kyle and Jared. So it's the four of us, and we did
Okay.
that for about 6, 7 months, right?
Hmm.
And finally, what happened was, so Matt and Kyle, the thing with them, what makes them special is that they found the formula to crafting a good video, right? They were roommates at Liberty, right? And I mean, good, I mean, strong in their faith, really, really good guys. And I really think like God really has his hand in everything that we're doing because all the guys that I work with, they're all rooted in their faith. You know what I'm saying? They're all believers.
Yeah.
I think like ultimately, like the fact that, we are again, all like-minded and we all have that faith in Jesus, I think that's what keeps our group so like going so strong, to where it's
Yeah.
at now. And so, obviously I started with Matt and Kyle, it came out and me and Jared. And then finally, they mastered social media. They mastered a viral video. finally, I think it was December, and they came to me and Jared. They were like, "Hey, like we've been thinking about doing something." We're like, "Okay, what you got?" Like, okay, yeah, yeah, we run a bunch of pages right now, and we're good at making these pages blow up, making viral videos. So we're not going to stop doing that, but why don't we do it for ourselves, right? Why don't
Yeah.
we make our own account, right?
Hmm.
Our own account, and essentially to do what we know how to do best. Because they, again, they're old. I think they're like 20, 28, 29,
Hmm.
and so they had their own jobs at one point, and they quit to do this, but they came in, they're like, let's do our own account. Let's use what we know. Let's implement it, but let's
Yeah.
just have fun with it. Right.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of how our Moon Media games came to be. And so me and Jared, we went out and we found other people, I guess guys that, again, like guys that were like-minded, who look like, they could, you have to have a good personality, you have to be good on camera, you have to, be fun, you have to
Yeah.
be, I don't know, like, I don't want to say athletic, but you have to be able to, you have to be, like, all of our guys, they're everyone's special in their own way.
Yeah.
uh, and so again, like God brought everybody together. And so January came and we got a warehouse. We wanted this huge warehouse hunt. We put turf up in there, basketball court, hoop, everything. And we went up from there. And so we uploaded our first video back in January, and everyone was just a little bit hesitant, but we went from there. And so all these guys, we all still work together to market, the other companies, but the Moon Media Games has kind of become our baby that we're trying to,
Yeah.
grow. You know what I'm
Dude, that's
saying? And
awesome.
it's grown. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, like this page. I mean, we just started January, like February, and
Yeah,
it's
dude.
so much.
No, that's
Uh,
actually amazing.
but yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, it's incredible. Before we get back to the episode, I just want to thank you all so much for supporting the channel. If you enjoy this type of content, feel free to like and subscribe. It's free. You can always change your mind later. I also have other social media. I have Instagram, TikTok, and Snapchat. My Instagram and TikTok is Cole Reynolds, but the L's are ones. And my Snapchat is Cole11 Reynolds. You can see the behind the scenes stuff, more content that I do. But thank you all so much for supporting the channel. And let's get back to the episode. I'm sure you can still bring your competitive edge to that side of things too. I'm sure that's
yeah,
that's pretty easy to do that.
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, 100%,
Well,
100%.
that's awesome, dude. So I love the story. I love how you kind of have that deep center connection with everybody. Um, I kind of want to learn about a little bit your walk with your faith. So, was
Yeah,
your faith always like a centerpiece of your life, or was
yeah,
there a specific moment where your relationship with Jesus became personal, and like with this transitions and all that stuff? Like, how has He helped you through all these? Like you said, you went to Charleston for nursing. Next thing you know, you're coaching. Next thing you know, you're doing this, and now you're starting Moon Media Games. You know what I'm saying? So like, walk me through a little bit about that. Talk to me about your faith with Jesus and kind of
yeah, brother. Yeah.
the relationship you have with Him.
So I grew up in a Nigerian household. My
Hmm.
parents are from Nigeria. And so I grew up going. I mean, my dad was an usher in the church, and so my dad, he instilled faith within me and my brothers at a very young age. It was waking up 7 a.m., getting ready, driving to church, and it's funny because the thing about Nigerian churches is that, like, they're like a whole school day. It feels like a school day, right?
Yeah.
And you're there from 8 to like 4. It goes so long, right?
Hmm.
And so we'd have to leave our house, drive an hour to church. My dad was an usher, so he had set up, take down, do
Yeah.
all the things. But no, it was I grew up, going to Sunday school and everything. But I will say, uh, early on, it was hard. It was hard because I think the thing about the Nigerian church that made it difficult was that there was a cultural barrier. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? And I think, a lot of, like, African Americans, like, African Americans who have come to America, you know what I'm saying? Like, unless you speak like that native language, there could be either a language barrier or a cultural barrier that might
Hmm.
keep one from, and like, and that's not me saying, like, oh, like, that's the reason, because obviously God's going to reach anybody in any way.
Yep.
But I think for me, I think that's what it was. And so what happened was, so my parents they actually separated and got divorced, and My dad, who I had watched for so long, get us up in the morning, um, uh, take us to church, you know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Make sure we're praying, make sure we're reading our Bible, had just stopped going to church, right? And I think this kind of this divorce that he was going through, I think it really took a toll on him. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
for sure.
And so it went from seeing like, someone I looked up to, my dad, who had been, that image of a man of God in my life. He had stopped going to, and I don't know, I want to say like maybe it was the shame of divorce. You know what I'm saying? Like
Hmm.
no one go through that.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
him, it's just such a taboo in the Nigerian culture. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? Like keeping your family together. And I think that was something that my dad like he just simply wasn't able to, I guess do that. And,
Yeah.
divorce happened. And um so that kind of put me in a tight spot, right? Because I remember waking up Sunday morning and I'm waking myself up. Like my dad's not coming. Hey,
Hmm.
like, guys, we gotta get up. We gotta go to church. You know what I'm saying? I'm
Yeah.
waking myself up. I'm like, hold on, like, what's going on? My dad's still in bed. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
You know, it's, and so it kind of forced me to really have to, lean in a little harder. And it wasn't until I had one of my buddies, he had invited me to his church Wednesday night at first, what was it? It was Buford Church of God. And I remember going, they had a youth ministry called Vortex.
Hmm.
And I remember going, and it was, gosh, dude, it was the first time I had heard the voice of God, right? I remember walking in and they played Great Are You, Lord. Okay. And I just remember, man, just weeping, weeping, right? Fell to my knees because it's like, and for me, and I don't know how to put a finger on it, but it's like it was just such a huge turning point in my life because I think like I had a huge environment change, right?
Yeah.
And I think I was put in a place where I could understand the music,
Yeah.
I could, the music wasn't in a different language. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
People, all these different things, that allowed me to really grasp on to that moment. And so I had a really special moment that night. And I remember going home and telling my dad, and, he was like, oh, great, awesome, my brothers. And, that Wednesday night, transitioned into Sundays. And then I started bringing my brothers,
Hmm.
and my brothers started coming, right? And so slowly I started to become that that kind of that figure in my family. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like at once it was my dad, right?
Hmm.
And then when everything happened and I was kind of more forced to lean into my own faith, like rather than this faith that my dad had instilled in me, I had to go find my own. Um, I was able to take what I had found, in my relationship with Christ and instill it in my brothers, right? Because they were in the
Yeah.
exact same as me. And so we all started going. And I think honestly the biggest thing for me was when I remember telling my dad, like, hey dad, like, why don't you come to church with me? You know? And he was like, oh, like the white people church, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, the
Hmm.
white people church, you know what I'm saying? Because again,
Yeah.
like Nigerians, like that's all we've ever. And so I mean, he came with me and he enjoyed it. Like
That's awesome.
it was awesome, and I think like it was even better to see my dad back in church. You
Yeah,
know what
for
I'm
sure.
saying? He had found like that spark had been relit. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? And I think that God used me in a way that I didn't think that I'd ever be able to be used. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? To
100%.
light that spark up back in my dad, my
Yeah.
brother, you know what I'm saying? But it ultimately made my faith stronger, you know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Being able to lead in that way in my family. So
Yeah.
um so yeah, I mean it's
Yeah.
been really good. And so, like I will always fall short at the end of the day, but I think, the God has been so good. He's been
Yeah.
so good to me. And I think
100%.
the way it's transitioned into new media, like again, like he's
Yeah.
been the glue and the center of all of it. And I just don't think we'd be able to do it without him.
Yeah. And that's amazing, dude. I'm glad that your dad bounced back and you to be a pillar kind of for people to lean on, especially your family. And that's amazing. And I think the biggest thing too is like when we face struggle in certain situations that like especially hard seasons that we don't understand. There, I told my dad this today. There's not been a hard season that I've gone through that I've not come better out of. That there's not been more clarity. That God, he made me go through that for a reason, and there's a reason behind it. And I'm looking back at all the things that I struggled with, like the start of my college career. I didn't get to play for the first 2 years of D1 baseball, and so I'm having to transfer, and then I'm trying to figure it out. My first year playing, but it's my third year of college, and just all these different things. And I recently went through a breakup like about 3 months ago. Like all these things are kind of stacking up, and I'm like, wow, like life has completely changed from a month ago. But there's all these different things that I've gone through that have helped me be a better man, be a better Christian, be a better son, be a better father, or not father yet, future father.
Wow.
Um, but yeah, man, like there's nothing that he's gonna put us through that we can't handle, and those seasons will strengthen our trust in God's
Yeah.
plan. It even says in Proverbs 3 verses 5 and 6, trust in the Lord with all of your heart and lean not on our own understanding. So
1,000%.
I'm glad to see that your faith and your drive to continue going, because I mean that's hard to, especially if someone that's led you to church every day just stops going. Like it's so easy to kind of fall into that too and just like, okay, well,
So
dad's not
easy.
going, so
So
I'm not
easy.
going.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I mean, with what you're doing now, I think you found your identity in outside of sports. Like you said, obviously, dang, track sucks, but like I'm sure it meant a lot to you, and like competing meant a lot to you. But you're finding something else outside of that, and that's also a goal for me too. I want to be able to compete outside of baseball one day after my career is over. But I think
Yeah.
that's awesome about how God has strengthened you and continuing to move in your life
Yeah.
through the hard seasons. But um, I mean, your all's content brings smiles to so many people, but it
Yeah.
also shows how you like genuinely care about being joyful, encouraging others, kind of just competing, being joyful about life, and being like so full of life. So what do you hope people remember about you and your crew long after these videos and competitions are over?
Man, I gosh, I honestly
I'm sure that's a hard
no,
question. I
no,
mean,
no,
considering you all
no,
just
no,
started.
no, it's a hard question, and it's funny because me and my buddies, we do talk about that. We're like, man, down the road when we have kids, like these, like we've now left a big enough digital footprint that will last years down the road, right? And
Hmm.
so now it comes down to, okay, like what do we want left, right?
Yeah.
What is our legacy going to look like? And it's about being that example, right? And continuing to remember why we're doing it, and not get caught up. Like I think you see a lot of different people on social media who might get caught up different things. Again, even with social media, like now that we're coming up, like like it's still about chasing the bag, right?
Hmm.
And so it's about like brand deals that might, like, I mean, we've got all kinds of brand deals, but
Yeah,
some
I'm
might
sure.
be like gambling or alcohol or hold this beer in this video or this and this and that, different things like that.
Yeah.
But it's at the end of the day, like it comes like the reason why we turn down that stuff is because at the end of the day, like we have like we want to. It is a lot. I mean, the age group is between 18 and 24,
Hmm.
but at the same time, like if you watch our videos, like it's all like if you genuinely watch our videos and if you take out the games and just watch every person, right? Everyone has the joy of the Lord, right?
Yeah.
Like we're all able to come together, make a video, have fun, what
Hmm.
I'm saying, and do it again and do it again,
Yeah.
do it again, right? And it's not by our own power, right? Obviously, right? And I think just remembering that, like we're not able to do it ourselves. And again, like it is by the grace of God why we're where we're at now. And
Yeah.
so I really do think that's the only thing that's keeping us going, and that I think the Lord's going to continue to provide the way He has, and continue to allow me to be a light for so many people. I mean, I get thousands of DMs every single
Yeah.
day.
I'm sure you do. Timmy equals
It's
timing, bro.
no, 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 literally, literally. And it's it's being able to be that light through the videos and helping
Yeah.
people. And you know, I mean, it's always been something that I've wanted to do. Um, you know, me and my buddy, and it's funny because they'll say, so me and one of my buddies, we actually have a nonprofit. We have a clothing brand called Rep Jesus Clothing.
Okay.
And so it's funny, we have a hat just like the one you're wearing.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Nice.
it's a camo hat that has a three on it,
That's
and a
sick.
cross on the side, but the three is supposed to stand for Father, Son, the Holy Spirit,
Okay.
right?
Yeah, that's amazing.
Across on the side, and it's funny because we started doing the videos, and what we'll do, what me and my boy will do, we will we after expenses and stuff, will donate everything to a charity.
That's
Uh,
awesome.
do a new drop, do a new drop, do a new drop. But even what we wear in the videos, right?
Hmm.
Matt, one of the guys that run it, he was like, "Hey man, like I was thinking like this would be a good time to like rep your merch, bro, like because this is good stuff, like like
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying, I mean that's what it's all about. You know what
Hmm.
I'm saying? It's about spreading the word, spreading the like, spreading the truth to all these people,
Yeah,
right?
dude. That's
And so,
awesome.
so I mean, we're still trying to figure out different ways, but
Yeah.
try not to get lost and caught up in
Right.
all, you
Yeah, for
know?
sure. And I think it's cool that you're making an impact. And plus having people around you that are actually encouraging, like that's so
Yes.
cool to have a community like that, dude. Like, dude, rep your merch, bro. Like, what are you doing? Like that's so cool. Like
Where in the
because you
video,
could
bro?
it could be the opposite. Like having to work for somebody or work with somebody that's like, dude, like we don't want to do like all the religious stuff that you guys are doing.
Yes,
Like,
bro.
dude, like bro,
Yes.
when you understand the reason, you have that purpose and then intentionality of spreading the gospel and making an impact on somebody's life, dude, like the sky's the limit for you all. And like the sky's the limit for like the things that you're building, the people that you meet, like the joy and the just the abundance that you can find in Jesus. Like, dude, it's just unreal. And that's something I'm experiencing now with my content is just
Yeah,
finding just that peace and that intention of making an impact and helping somebody. And you
exactly.
guys have the same exact vision. So that's amazing, dude. And I'm sure that you guys are have great things ahead of you all. I mean, you're already starting to blow up, so it's super
Mhm.
exciting. But dude, I got one more question. And I'll let you go, but I wanna ask. So for someone listening who may be
Okay.
struggling, finding peace or joy, or they're in the middle of life's uncertainties, what would you tell them about trusting God and His plan?
Yeah, man, that's dude, that's a great question because I remember my senior year. I did a senior sermon at my church, and it was about literally that question. I remember I did the illustration. I remember
Hmm.
walking out and I had a life vest on.
Yeah.
It's funny because everyone knows, if you know me, you know I cannot swim. You know, I cannot swim. Right? Add me to the statistic, bro. I'm just another. And so, so I walked on. I remember walking on stage with the life vest on. But that illustration was supposed to be, simply the fact that we cannot do it on our own. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? We as much as we want to think that all of the wealth and all of this influence that we've gathered, has been because of us. Like at the end of the day, it's not,
No.
right? And
Yeah.
at one point, we do have to take a step back, take our hands off that wheel, and just say, "Hey, Jesus, like." Guide us. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, dude.
And I think for people that might be lost and uncertain, I think it's super important, just like you were saying, to understand like God does have a plan instilled in everybody, like it's still in everybody's lives.
Hmm.
And I think a lot of us can get caught up in the fact that, hey, like, I just don't know it right now. I don't, and I feel like everyone will experience that at one point, but we have to go through some of those lows to get into our highs,
Oh yeah.
right? Um, I I remember it's actually so funny. I had so back in college, me and my buddy, we were messing around in the chapel one night and we're playing guitar. And I remember this girl comes running in. It's like 11 o'clock at night. Girl comes running in. Revival's coming. And we're looking around like, who the hell is that? Like, who is this girl? What is she talking about? Right.
Yeah.
And so I remember I was like, "Ugh, I'm going to bed. I have to go. Like, I have a test in the morning." And I left. And then I remember my boy coming back to get me. He's like, "Hey, like, grab your guitar. You got to come back." And I'm so tired. I'm like, what is he talking about? And I walked back into the chapel, and when I say like it was just the two of us, and the chapel became full of college students, right? This is like 11:30 at night. And we went on to lead. And if you go on, you can Google it on TikTok and find it. But we went on to lead a revival for 8 days straight, um,
Wow.
on the campus, and it was probably one of the craziest, movements of God that I've ever been a part of, right?
Hmm.
Because we had people flying in from all over the country. Sanford is it's a gated school, and they opened up the gates at night. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? The communities, the families to come in, like it was crazy, and this was going all day, all night. And I remember it, and the reason why I bring it up is because I remember thinking in that moment, going into that, thinking like holy cow, like how long is this gonna last? You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like I don't I don't know like how long we can keep this up, this and that. And I remember having all these uncertainties, only to remember that, hey, like let go and let God. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? Let go and let God, because like I'm not the one driving this boat. He is,
Hmm.
right? Like go ahead and just put on the life jacket and let loose. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, I mean, he's the one that's going to determine how long this goes, how like where he's the one that's going to. And it's funny because I think like even and it kind of as the revival went on, you started to see how God just kind of led, because like even in leading worship, like a lot of the songs were like, like it was, all right, we'll do this, we'll do this song, we'll do this song, we'll do this song. But as days went on, you started to realize like a lot of it became spontaneous, right?
Yeah.
And the words just started to flow. You
Yeah.
see what I'm saying? And you could tell what a spirit-filled room looked like, you know what I'm saying,
Yeah.
versus one that it was extraordinary,
That's awesome, dude.
but it's just one of those things that, again, like even though there was uncertainty, again, I think it's super important to remember that, hey, at the end of the day, like we might not know God's plan, but it's not our job to know the plan, right?
Exactly right.
Because if we did, then He wouldn't be God. You see what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
Exactly
Uh,
right.
and so, I mean, gosh, like I mean, it sounds so cliche, but like let go and let God.
No, it's
I
true.
know
That's 100% true.
it really is, and I've been in that boat, way too many times where I'm like, "Oh, gosh, like what do I do? Like God, don't like I can't." And you're like sitting there in these moments thinking like, God, like I can't hear you speak to me,
Yeah.
and it's funny because even in those moments, even in those moments, um, even in those moments, he's provided. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And the thing is, and the thing about it is that he provides, and he doesn't stop, and he continues to do it, and
Yep.
continues,
Exactly
and
right.
blessings just continue to overflow, right?
Yes.
And so to everyone listening, like I do think like, hey, like lean in, have that childlike faith, you know what I'm saying? And just continue to be a light everywhere you go, because you never know who's watching, who's listening. And it will come, like whatever your plan is, like there's no reason to stress.
Yeah.
Like uh sit down, breathe, I mean, you're going nowhere fast, God's got you.
Hmm. Yeah.
So yeah, of
Well, thank you so much, dude. I really appreciate having you on, and this has been awesome, dude. Just thank you so much. I really appreciate you taking your time to do this with me.
course, brother. Of course. I appreciate you.
All right. Well, thank you all so much for watching. Come back next Sunday for the next episode of Speak from the Heart. See you later.
Deuces.